All right, I think we are live. Good evening, everyone. Greetings, one and all. Greetings, Vulcan family. Thank you for joining me for the third episode of Corks and Crypto. I'm the Mellow Fella, back to share my adventures in crypto with you. So today I am solo. My one of my business partners that was with me on last week, he and his wife are enjoying themselves on a mini vacation in Las Vegas today. So I hope they are having a great time, and I hope to be able to go to Las Vegas myself with the Vulcan team once we get into mainnet. So looking forward to that. Let me get my ticker started here. So just a couple of things. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Okay. So we're just going to have some fun, talk a little bit about some wine. We're going to talk about some crypto, and we're definitely going to talk about Vulcan and the Vulcan blockchain. So getting to our comments, let's see who we've got in the building so far. All right. I see we have OBZ. Thanks, OBZ, for showing up. My name, Jeff. What's up, crew? Thanks for showing up. My name Jeff. Richard Hudman. What's going on? Thanks, Richard Hudman. John Kano. Thanks for showing up, John. And we have Jason Hayes. Hey, Jason, how's it going? And again, OBZ. Hey, guys. All right, so let's get this going. Let's get started. So, as far as the wine selection for tonight, I went with, oh, we got Brooklyn, Hodel, Vulcan in the house. We also have Big OD. What's up? What's up, guys? So, again, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. So, as far as the wine selection, we're drinking tonight, or I'm drinking tonight. Hopefully, you can see this. This is James Harden. This is one of James Harden's Cabernets. This is the 2021 vintage. James has three varieties of wines that he has out in production. There's a Prosecco, which is a sparkling white wine. I'm not familiar with that one. I haven't had it. He also has a red blend, which I really, really, really like. I was out of the red blend, so I went with the Cabernet. They're both great, but I really like that red blend that James Harden has. What's up, Fowler? I see you here in the building. Okay. Hey, man, if you want to join, I have put the link in the Discord, or not the Discord, but in our Telegram group. And as a matter of fact, if there's anyone out there that wants to join me here, feel free. Let me find the link and I will post it in the comments. So give me 1 second. Yep. Appreciate you showing up and showing out tonight, Fowler, and looking forward to getting my shirt, man. I hope that shipped out sometime soon. So hopefully I can have that, maybe by my next show, perhaps. Yeah. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right. So, so getting back to the James Harden wine, I'm not a wine expert. That's my guy. Um, making poor decisions. So again, he's out on vacation. So what I can tell you about this wine, it has some, I would say, berry. I think it's blueberry notes that are in it. I taste that, which really comes through. It's a slight oaky kind of taste to it as well. As far as pairings are concerned, it pairs well with beef, chicken, lamb, and that's about it. It's a really, in my opinion, it's a good wine. It's really clean, not really harsh. So, really great wine to enjoy, especially for those of you that are uh, maybe not familiar with wine and just looking to some wine to get into. So that is that on the wine front. So I'm going to pivot and let's talk about what's going on in Vulcan and in the news today. So it doesn't look like there's a lot going on as far as Discord updates are concerned, but there is something regarding node holders. So in the node holder chat, SO posted an alert just for those of you that have nodes to be aware that there is a scammer that is impersonating SO the Vulcan that is in the main chat as well as in the node holders chat group. So just be aware of that. One way that you can identify if you're communicating with the right SO is to go to his profile. He's going to have a 4-digit number at the end of his name, and then you can validate that way that you're communicating with the right person. Regardless of that, even if SO were to send you a link, do not click the links, guys. That's how they're taking your nodes. That's how they're getting access to your wallets and clearing out all of your crypto. As a matter of fact, I am planning to do a video. I found an older mini PC that I had laying around, so I'm going to load some Linux operating systems on it, put a test wallet on there, and go through the process of clicking on one of these malicious links just to show you all what will happen if you were to do that. So I'm going to try testing that out and do that in a real clean environment so that it's not affecting my personal holdings. So look forward to that. So other things that are going on, let's talk about testnet updates for a bit. We all know that the faucet is live. That went live on, I want to say, Friday of this past week. So all is well there. The Trace, Vulcan Trace, the site was down at around 8 a.m. Central Texas time this morning when I had an opportunity to go out and look at it this morning. I think it was a UI issue because user interface or website itself, you couldn't access the site. The blockchain was fine, everything was working there. How do I know that? Is because I was able to go to the faucet and collect another 10 test tokens, test Vulcan tokens. So all was well there. And as around 5 p.m. Central Time, I checked again, and the Vulcan trace was back online. So looks like they are. I'm guessing that they are making way for the next phase of testnet, which is when rebases are expected to be turned on. So looking forward to that. So let's see. I think we've got a chat from Richard Hudman or comment. Yeah, Cabernets are delicious. Cabernets are delicious. So, and thanks, OBZ. OBZ hit a tweet for the live, so I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. So, Bitcoin rally, that's another thing that I want to talk a little bit about, and I'm going to share my screen. So, give me 1 second. Let me pull that up. And let's see. I'm going to share this screen right here. So hopefully you all can see that. And what I'm sharing is this is a news page from one of our community members, Conformant RM. Conformant's done an awesome job with this page. I really like it. I go to it quite often. So thanks, Conformant, for all the work that you do. As you can see this ticker down here, eventually Bitcoin is going to come through. And I believe Bitcoin is trading at about 28,000 still. It's still holding above 28,000. I think it's like 28,100 and change. So there you go. It's I'll let it run through for a little bit so I can get it more centered. But yeah, we Bitcoin is at or about $28,137 right now. So Bitcoin has continued to rise. XRP, there's an article that Conformant has here. XRP breaks trend, it pumps 30% and continuing. So I encourage you all to look at that. But one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about as it relates to Bitcoin, as it relates to crypto and the pumps that we're seeing in some of the top 5 coins or the top tier coins is something that kind of relates to what Fowler was discussing in his live earlier today. And by the way, if you're not familiar with Fowler's channel, do check him out. It's a gaming channel, but he does a great news analysis of things going on in the crypto space and in Vulcan as well. So he is live every weekday, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. So do check out Fowler. And I believe he's going to be joining me here soon. Let's see. Curtheus, what's going on, Curtheus? Glad to see you in the building, sir. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right. So when Fowler was on earlier, he made mention of Sushi Swap and that the SEC has presented Sushi Swap with, basically gave them, they're in a situation, and I'm going to pull Fowler into the stream. Hey, Fowler, you there, sir?
Yeah, what's going on, Melfo Crypto? First time on your show, man.
Appreciate you joining me, man. We were just talking about your stream earlier today when you were talking about Sushi Swap.
Yeah. So that was actually something I didn't even see it coming like at all. I didn't see it coming at all, and I didn't even think, to be honest, a DEX could get hit. But now I know a DEX can be hit. This is how you find out things.
Right.
It's pretty shocking. I've been talking to people all day, people who like deal with ETH, like a lot of ETH and stuff, and they're shook. They're like just shook, like not like shook enough to get out of crypto, but they are very uncertain, and they have all right to be honest, because when I want to say maybe a couple of years ago, no, maybe 3 years ago. SEC was coming down, talking, same stuff they always talk. They've been talking this stuff for decades, at least a decade. So it usually just be like, okay, well, that's their plan, but when they gonna get to it, totally different thing, right? Like it might be. I always said that the enforcement was probably gonna come maybe like 10 years down the road. All right. Like straight up 10 years down the road. And like maybe that's when it, they start dealing with the scammers and all that stuff.
Mhm.
No, these guys, I honestly believe they got hip. They start hiring the same people that were making these smart contracts, the blockchain, stuff like that. They just recruited. That's all they had to do. And then they got smarter. And now they're here. They're here. They got the CBDCs. They got it. They ready to go.
And you're spot on. And that kind of talks to, an article on Confirmate's site that I read just recently. And, banks prepare for CBDCs as banking sector strains at a critical time. And all these things are starting to converge. And it got me to thinking about fiat, right? And I don't know if a lot of people realize, truly realize what fiat is and why the governments, and I say governments because it's not just the US, it's happening abroad, it's happening in Europe. Why is it that they're so interested in cryptocurrency? And it seems all of a sudden, right?
Power and control.
It's starting to converge.
Power and control. That's all it is.
Absolutely. It's power and control. And here's an article I pulled up from Investopedia, and I'll post that link. Let me put the link in here now. I'll try to do my homework this time. Get the stream started on time and get my links ready. So
yeah, man, I know how it is.
Yeah. Try to do better than what I did last week. Made a ton of rookie mistakes last week.
Oh man, don't worry. At least you're not having the Jurassic Park issues like I have. I have issues. I be having issues. I be having issues.
But it's all in love. I really appreciate what you guys are doing and kind of encourage me to get out there and try to add something to it.
Oh yeah, man. Like I forgot what I was telling. I was like, this is not the whole influencer thing. You look outside of you look deep in YouTube. Yeah, there's a lot of competition out in YouTube. When it comes to this and crypto, and especially in a community, you don't really need. There's no competition to be had.
Right.
If you look at I always point to people I point them to Dogecoin. If you look at their community, if you ever just kind of got in their community, I've never really owned Doge like that to the point where I'm in a community like that, but I've went into their community and I've actually seen they're just people got different discourse and stuff, and people know this and that, they know who this influencer right, and they all made it. If you got to look back on their older videos, you go back and study some of those Dogecoin influencers, the pure Dogecoin influencers, the maxis. If you look at their beginning videos, you'll see that they started out with very low turnouts and not as much rah right, until what happened. Elon Musk started doing his thing with Dogecoin, and then everybody started coming. You see it. You can literally see it in their videos. You could tell when Elon Musk started pumping Dogecoin. You could tell when he started really pumping in, because you can see the growth, and it's not like a growth spurt. It's right. I went from 100 viewers on my videos to maybe 200. No, it's 100 to 5,000. Yeah, big time.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What's up, Pertheus? Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah. Great to be back. I know it's been over a week since I've been on a live stream, but yeah.
I thought you got kidnapped for a minute.
I know. It's just work's got me kidnapped and been kind of sick. So I'm feeling a lot better now. So yeah.
That's good. Gotta take care of yourself, man.
Yeah. So what's funny about the fiat? I had this conversation with somebody yesterday, and actually last night, And I was saying the reason why the governments are like really on crypto, like not as before it was like, oh, we got to find a way to tax crypto. But now they're seeing that adoption. They're seeing that power. It was always, it can never happen, right? It was always, oh, you guys have big dreams.
Right.
Businesses accepting crypto and it's being adopted to the point where you have, commercials and stuff like that. You can go back to at least 2010, and I promise you, no one would have thought a crypto commercial would have been on the Super Bowl, right? Like that's what all the institutions would have told you, right? And like, I mean, the crypto people was going to tell you like, oh yeah, we're going to be this and that, right? That's because, I mean, that's the faith in it, but we see it from a totally different angle. We can see the potentials in the future, right? We can see it, and we can see how it can be adopted. The governments don't look at it like that because in their minds and in the way they always been programmed is that people only believe in the almighty dollar, and that's where all the power comes from. And as long as we control that, we control the people.
Right.
Yeah. So now you fast forward to now, like just 2023. You got, you have like Mark Cuban is allowing Dogecoin to be in his pro shop for his Dallas Mavericks team. You have there's certain car sponsor racers who are actively sponsoring NASCAR cars as with crypto. You have Bitcoin ATMs, right? Like legit actual Bitcoin ATMs, not like the ones we always been used to seeing in some gas station where you like, hey, let me put some money in and boom, I got Bitcoin. No, we talking about you could actually spit out money from the Bitcoin. Like those exist.
Right. And I think I want to say, isn't Kryptonian like in that business some sort of way?
Yeah, I think he wants to.
He's either getting into it or he's into it.
Yeah, I think he wants to get in something like that. I've heard him. I mean, it doesn't even have to be Bitcoin. Crazy enough, you just have to program the software to communicate and do the transactions and some type of third party to actually do the conversion at some point. I mean, it's not. It doesn't have to just be Bitcoin. It could be any currency. You just have to make it happen, and it takes it just takes some will, right? It takes communities like this, like it takes will. And there's other, as there's other communities out there for other blockchains. Are they as big as others? Maybe not, but they get stuff done. If they really put their heads together, it can happen. But my point is that's been happening, and now the government's like, okay, hold on,
right,
hold on,
yeah. I mean, and with the recent situation with the bank runs, I think that has gotten the government's attention. Big time, because people are starting to pivot, right? People are starting to look at, I think that's part of this, rally that we're starting to see in Bitcoin. It's a small rally right now. I don't know that we're hitting that bull market just yet, but investors are looking for alternate opportunities.
It's because it's late. I mean, the government's late. That's why you see the scramble.
Late.
They're really late. But one thing the government does, and I think I kind of touched on it earlier today, was I was talking about events, right? We're talking about the pandemic. We're talking about these bank runs, bank failings, whatever you want to call them. A little bit after the pandemic, what happened? We had shortages, inflation was driving up prices, gas prices going out the roof, on and on and on and on and on, right? And it just seems like the government has a solution to everything. Right? Government has a solution to everything. Gas is up, solution. The price of food is up, solution. More food stamps. We give women and children more food stamps because it makes sense. It's women and children, not the household. This is women and children. Every woman and children has gotten food stamps, right? So they've been pumped. But the whole point is to just inflate that dollar. They want to. I truly believe They want to kill the dollar. It only makes sense. You would only keep hiking these rates up, and when you're even telling you're going on TV saying, "Oh, we got to this point, we're going to put in quantitative easing and stuff," but they don't ease shit. They don't turn it down. They don't say, "Oh, we're not going to hike." They continue to hike it. They want to kill this dollar. I promise you, because guess what? It's easier to put that CBDC in if that dollar is weak. It has to be weak first. Right now, people still believe in it strongly. The problem is they keep spending the shit out of it. So you got to keep, oh man, we print out trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. Oh, and what? There's not even as much gold there's not even much gold on this planet. The amount of money they've printed. That's the point.
I agree. Like they obviously use it to control, but I kind of don't think they use it to. I don't think they're printing it to destroy it. I don't think they're trying to kill it, as you so said. I think it's to the point where they've gone through this inflation thing that's it's like a never-ending snowball. They can't stop it. Like there's no way to
exactly. But that's
put out this fire.
That's what I'm saying. They're tired.
But I don't think they're purposely trying to kill.
I'm not gonna say kill. Let me not say kill. But instead of keep putting band-aids, which they've done for the longest, they stop putting the band-aids on. They say, you know what? Let's let this bleed out. Okay, like because they can't stop it. They can't keep clotting the wound. Okay, the wound is open, it's bleeding out. It's gonna happen because guess what? If you put that CBDC out there, you have to attach it to do something, right? You have to have just as much adoption as much as we're trying to get as adoption on any blockchain. Every blockchain wants you to use their coin for something, right? It has to have utility, right?
Right.
There has to be utility. The same rules apply to CBDCs. It has to have utility. Okay, you can't just circulate CBDCs and think it's going to be worth something. It has to be spent. It has to have a reason why it's being spent. So what you do is, and how you fix that is literally take the same systems that you've been using for the USD and just swap it CBDCs. Bam. Now you can guess what? And you don't have to worry about inflation with that. You know why? Because they control it. They literally can just delete and no one can say anything, right? Because guess what? If a blockchain was able to let's just say destroy, let's say they burn up, they throw, I don't know, 1 billion tokens, coins, whatever, right? They throw 1 billion coins in the fire pit, gone. They say it's gone. And then they just go and mint another million for the team and then just spend it. You like, yo, where'd that million come from? Right? You be like, where'd that magic money just come from? And they were like, this is what we do, right? But everybody on that blockchain would throw a fit. They would go crazy. They're like, so you guys can just print whenever you want and do whatever you want with it. That defeats the whole point of the system. That defeats the point. We complain about it for a blockchain. Matter of fact, we'll probably be calling the SEC talking about this blockchain just minted and they're up here doing X, Y, and Z and stealing money or whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call it, right? That's what people would be banging down and with pitchforks and fire tiki torches, right?
Right.
But if the government's doing it, who are you going to complain to?
That's it. I mean, it's control.
Exactly, it's control.
I mean, but they're doing it now with the dollar bill, right? I mean,
exactly. It's just this way.
It's just with the
CBDC. With the CBDC, it's so much easier, right? Imagine IRS would be cleared up, right? If they were utilizing CBDCs in the government for everything, just say all the government programs, all government payroll, all that stuff, IRS, everything. If those things were linked to a digital currency and it would move transacted with the digital currency instead of the way they're doing systems now, which is check and direct deposit. Direct deposit at best is 14 days when you try to get a return on your check, right? On your taxes, right? About 14 days. Some people get in 14 days. Some people take a month, right? But you put the CBDCs in that place, they're making those transactions in 2 days. They're making those transactions in 2 days. Why? Because they don't really have to fuck with the bank. They really don't. Like, it's not that same direct deposit. That's slow, right? It's technically slow in this day and age, a week. And then the bank is, already, the money never really goes into anybody's hands. Even if the person who has to get in the return, the money never really hits their hand. It's still IOUs at the end of the day. So I honestly believe the government just don't want the banks in place, even though they say they don't want the banks to die. But taking out those regional banks and stuff like that, yeah, you would make things a lot faster, a lot more efficient.
Yeah. Well, who becomes the bank? Does the government become the bank at that point?
I mean, they're already taking insurance, right? They're already doing the insurance for all the money in the bank. Why not?
Right. And
Why not?
JC Decaying has a comment here. He says, welcome to the new, I'm thinking that's New World Order. If you want to predict the future, look at China.
Oh, that's big time. That's like I told somebody last night too. Man, you guys are spitting everything I was talking about last night. Look, if you look at China, it tells you everything you need to know. They got the face recognition stuff going on. They can literally see how much is in your wallet because of the digital current, the CBDC. And guess what? If they say, oh, this guy is he processed a bad check or whatever, they could just punch you up and just turn off your wallet and you can't even spend no money.
Wow.
Like, that's not freedom. That's not even close to freedom. And if that stuff comes into the US, all it takes is bad actors, meaning the people who control the levers. If the actors aren't, if the people who control the levers end up, if that stuff falls in the wrong hands, yes, certain people will not be able to do certain things like everyone else because it's even more controlled. Like with the dollar, with the crummy dollar, the physical paper dollar, at least everywhere you go, no matter where you go, most of the time they will take that money, right? But with this digital currency stuff, the way they're trying to do it, you might not even be able to get to the store because they turned off your money. You can't even buy Uber, right? Like it's not freedom, man. It's the beginning of literally showing you that you have an illusion of freedom. And the person I was talking to last night, they said, well, where's the saving grace? The saving grace is crypto. But the problem is it may be too late.
Why do you say that? Why do you think it's too late?
The reason why I say it may be too late, and I'm saying maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Right.
Because the system's in place. When I really learned what that Silvergate exchange network does, it was like a light bulb. And even though the Silvergate exchange network is really based for bigger, more like huge amounts of money to come through, when that thing went down, and you're telling me the direct competitor is that FedNow system, which is the government's, and they rescued the bank that was failing, that had the Silvergate exchange network, and now they're replacing. I mean, they've saved the bank, so technically the government owns that bank because they rescue you. They pretty much call the shots. They call the shots. So if you are the direct competitor of the person you just basically saved, the likelihood is you're gonna put your system there. You're not gonna just be like, the government's not gonna just be like, oh, let's get another CEO in here and then we'll just back off and you guys do whatever the hell you want to do.
No, they're not going to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. They're not going to do that. This is why I was saying these are events, and these are the perfect events to move on the things that they are doing, which are that FedNow and the CBDCs. All the other countries out there that's trying to push CBDCs, they're out there, but they're not as big as, of course, the US. And then there's China, right? So China is what? Bigger, technically, as far as population, bigger than the US, right? And they have the whole system in there, right? Everything is controlled by the government. And in the US eyes, they think it's running fine, right? To us, we'll be like, that's not freedom. But who do you think the US is listening to? You think they listen to the people Us? You think they listen to us? No, they're not listening to us. They give us illusions that they listen to us. All right. And if you don't believe me, just look at everything that's going on. We got to these points because of lack of government intervention. Right? People, these CEOs are able to do whatever the hell they want to do. They're able to take money, go on extravagant vacations with your money, right? With the people who's either in those banks or even in the stock markets, right? Some of the businesses in the stock, they doing all types of crazy stuff. No one seems to go to jail. No one seems to have any type of consequences or repercussions. And when you have more of that keep happening year after year after year after year for decades, this is what you get. This is what you get. And honestly, I don't think, and that's why I said, like, I'm not going to say they want the dollar to die, but they definitely don't seem like they give two shits. Okay,
I agree with you there.
That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you there.
That's all I'm saying. Because they could have done a lot of things, man. They could have done a lot of things. They could cut back inflation about a lot. I mean, it'll be hard. It'll be the hardest thing in the world, but seeing a lot of people suffer. But I mean, they've done it before. It's called the Great Depression. They've done it before. They just don't want to do it again. Why? Because they're afraid. And why are they afraid? Because things have changed a lot, right? A lot. We're talking, and if you look what happened right after the pandemic, all the protests, the looting, you see that's part of control. The military vehicles that the police come out with, that stuff. I mean, those stuff was coming on trains. A lot of people saw this stuff coming. Like they was importing this stuff on trains, right? And then just sprayed it. Now we're a military state, right? Who uses military vehicles as in their police force? I'm gonna tell you right now, it's China. Okay, like their police force is just as militarized.
Wow.
We're looking. I mean, it sucks. The government does not work. We know the government doesn't work. I don't even talk about the government politics because it's a fucking waste of time. It really is. I don't know why Prado and them talking about Trump. It's a fucking waste of time. It's all a waste of time.
I agree with you.
Crypto.
I agree with you.
Everybody in crypto should feel like they're on the oasis. We're on a whole different planet because we are.
Yep. Well, Biz has a comment, but because you can too, just posted something real quick. I want to get to that first before we get to Biz's comment. Because you can too says, as long as we pay interest on every dollar printed, I think printing money is in their best interest. And I agree with that. And one of the reasons why I agree with that is because of something that I read in this article that I didn't really think about, but it makes sense. Are you familiar with the concept of seigniorage? You know what that is?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay, so I think I highlighted it. Seigniorage essentially is, oh great, I'm all over the place. But seigniorage essentially is when a dollar or any, when a currency is produced, it could be a dollar or a coin, right? When a currency is produced, it is the value of that currency minus the production cost. And the value of that currency that's produced minus the production cost, that equals a profit to the government. So they are literally making money by printing money. Just by the action of printing money, the government is making money before we even get into interest payments.
To me, it just seems so crazy, man. Like, how can you make money off of money that has nothing value back in it?
Well, but again, that definition though, the way that definition applies is that dollar that's created or that the currency that's created has to have some value. So if there's no value,
how are you making money?
That your cost, the cost of production exceeds the value of what you're creating.
Yeah, and it's crazy because there's literally nothing of value back in this stuff. It's almost it's almost like if I can get enough people to believe in Disney bucks, right? And be like, this is worth $1 and it's got one on it, right? And it's got Mickey Mouse on it. And if I can get at least the whole state of Florida to believe this is actual currency that you can go buy milk and eggs and bread with, right? It would become a currency because the store believes it. I believe it. Wherever the money is going to be handed off next to is going to be believing it. And that's how that works. It's all belief. But when somebody's like, well, how do you know this is worth $1? Oh, because the next guy said it.
Right.
Well, and they're gonna keep saying it. But at some point, when I start seeing a guy just like if I go in the back and I see a guy on his Hewlett Packard printer printing out Disney bucks, it's like, okay. So how does this have any value if this guy right here is just able to hit a button and print Disney bucks? And that's exactly how I feel about the US dollar. Like that's literally how I feel about the US dollar. It's it could literally somebody could go on the news tomorrow and be like, oh, the government just printed out another $2 trillion. I'm like, off of what? Oh,
Right,
on a printer. Oh, on a printer, huh? Well, guess what? I guess the printer has a lot of money. I mean, a lot of value because it's able to print the dollars. Because that's how I look at it. The printer has the value. Because the value is the printer. If I can get a hold of that printer, right, and the software that connects to that printer, and I can print more dollars, I have instant value. But all that printer is just a bunch of chips and stuff. Like it's not worth anything, man. And that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm saying. Like now, but when it comes to the CBDCs, there's more opportunity, right? Because Bitcoin becomes gold.
Right. And let's step back. Since you talked about CBDCs, Biz has a great question here or comment. He's asking, explain how Vulcan can work alongside CBDCs.
Well, it's scary, right? Like if you're a person that likes privacy, right? I wouldn't want it to touch it. I wouldn't even want to touch it because once the CBDC touches your wallet, you're exposed. You're marked. You're marked. It's plain and simple. You're marked because at some point you're gonna cash out that CBDC, or even if you cash out your Vulcan, right? Even if you cash out the Vulcan, now your Vulcan's traced, right? At some point, if that CBDC, which you're not just gonna take the CBDC and not do anything with it, right? If that CBDC goes anywhere back to where your name is connected to it, or some sort of KYC or anything, you're screwed. That means you're gonna owe at any point the government says, because right now it's any fiat that you take out and put into a bank, you're responsible for tax-wise, right? That can change. They've gotten smarter. That was the rules before we knew they were smart. That's before we knew Gary Gensler was in the game. Those were the rules then. Mm-hmm. These are different rules now. It's different times, man. I'm telling you. Seeing Sushi Swap going to court, these are different times. These are not like the old times where you just take these dudes for like a grain of salt. No, they're for real. They're going after Dexes. So if you have a CBDC get anywhere close to your wallet, like you're gonna be exposed. I promise you. And at any point, if they want to say we're taxing wallets, whatever, right? We're taxing wallets for realized gains. Like as soon as you take them, not when you go back to the bank, not when you go to the bank. No. As soon as you sell,
right? As soon as that transaction occurs on the blockchain.
Right. And if the way they do it, the only way they can track you is if you had the CBDC close to your wallet and you did somewhere went back to your KYC. That's their connection. You have to understand. It's like it's like if you think of it like a virus, it's almost like a virus. If you put it in one and then it goes somewhere else, and then it goes somewhere else, then it goes somewhere else, right? It's just like their money, right? Dollars always rotated, right? Like you might have a dollar that says somebody wrote on there, kiss my ass, and like you like, damn, where did this dollar come from? Like,
right.
It's touching so many hands. Same thing, except the USD, the dollar could never be tracked, right? You couldn't track that dollar, but you could track that CBDC. Totally different. And now you are on the board at any point in time.
Right. But in the case of Vulcan, though, and how, I'm kind of thinking, I agree with you on the CBDC piece. But in looking at the question, and Biz, I hope you're out there, explaining how Vulcan can work alongside of CBDCs, I'm thinking we should still be able to have transactions occur. So let's say, okay, I just bought a Vulcanaire shirt, my first Vulcanaire shirt, right? So eventually I'm going to buy another Vulcanaire shirt.
Oh yeah.
But what if I buy a Vulcanaire shirt after mainnet?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm giving Fowler, I'm issuing you Vulcan, in exchange for a shirt. I'm bypassing CBDCs.
Right.
I don't need a CBDC at that point.
Exactly.
So yeah, CBDCs, you could do.
And I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna be like, oh, give it to me. Cool.
Right.
Quick transaction.
It's valuable to you, and the shirt will be valuable to me because it's something that I want to purchase, and we're making an exchange.
But now, if you come to me with a CBDC, I'm like, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that. But it's like, now, if you want to say how can Vulcan work along with CBDC, I think the exchange should take CBDC. It's fine if the exchange wants to exchange CBDCs.
Right.
It's up to whoever the user is who wants to interact with the CBDC if that's what they choose. If they choose they want to take profit, right? They want to take profit. They take the Vulcan, they go to the exchange, and then they want to trade it for the US CBDC, and then send the CBDC to whatever the hell they want to send it to off ramp it. That's on them. I would highly recommend against it, but the blockchain should interact with it. One, because there's really nothing to fear as far as the blockchain is concerned. The blockchain is in compliance as of right now to what the SEC is demanding out of crypto blockchains and exchanges. It's clear as day. He said, Gary Gensler has said it out of his mouth. I had Curtius on my live to see it himself. He said, and this is where all the hype started. This is where all this started for Vulcan and the SEC. This is where it all started, right on my live. Wow. We literally sat there, me and Curtis was on live. We said, we watched his video, his stake video. He said, if you're sending your asset to a third party and they're staking it, that blockchain or exchange is out of compliance. You are breaking the law as far as the U.S. government is concerned. That's exactly what he said, because he even said he's the cop. He's the cop of crypto. Then he said the sheriff of crypto.
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah,
that's exact. He said
he was the cop of crypto.
Did you need to talk to? Do you work hand in hand with Washington, with the White House? No, we just do this. We're the police of crypto.
We're the police.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And like when I tell you, and I said it on my live, I said once Kraken folded like a lawn chair, they gave Gary Gensler and the SEC all the power in the world. And that's exactly what happened. They started making videos, commercials, everything. So, I mean, I would, as far as the blockchain is concerned, yes, you should have liquidity for CBDCs because you have nothing to fear at this moment because you are compliant in the eyes of the SEC. And it would show confidence as well. It would show confidence to other investors. So let's just say, for example, there's investors that actually believe in the CBDC, right? Because there will be, I promise you, because right now They are selling the CBDCs. I don't know if you guys dug deep into CBDCs. I was supposed to have a video. I never got to play it because so much stuff has been happening. But what the video said was there's the CBDCs. There's two forms of CBDC sales going on right now. One, well, not two of them going on right now, but one is going on right now. There's two different versions. So there's a retail CBDC that's 1 for 1. And then there's when I say 1 for 1, meaning the time comes, and this is how you know, and this is on this information is actually on the SEC site. If you can go and check it out if you don't believe me, and you go look up their CBDC information. There's a retail version which will be one to one with the US dollar, meaning people, when this stuff goes down, people gonna have to run to banks and trade in. If they got funky green dollars, they're gonna have to trade that stuff in. And it's already in your bank, it's all automatically probably gonna be done. But the money's gonna be traded 1 to 1. That's for retailers. That's for you, me, Curtis, everybody else who's just regular Joe and you don't have millions of dollars, right? And then there's a wholesale CBDC, and that's 0.5 to 1, meaning the millionaire, and it's only for the millionaires and billionaires and above, right? It's for the 1% guys. And what they do, they get it for half off. They literally get it for half off.
What?
Yeah,
so
I'd like to. So where is this information?
This was on the SEC site. It might be either the SEC site or I'm trying to think. There was a who had it? Coin Bureau. He has.
I'm gonna check that out.
He has a video on
it. That is interesting. That's pretty interesting.
He has. Look at his CBDC videos. It's from one of those. That was one of the videos I was going to show.
But what you just described is it's an erosion of the middle class. Complete erosion of the middle class.
That's why I said I don't. Yeah. That's why I said I honestly believe they will kill the US dollar at some point. They will. Wow. And that was what kind of like drove me to start with all this other stuff that was going around. It makes me think, okay, if you're wholesaling CBDCs right now, it's not launched, right? Almost like a pre-sale. Think of it like a pre-sale, right? Like they're selling it, and they're only selling to the wealthy. They're only selling to the wealthy. And this is what what we always said with crypto. Crypto is the biggest wealth transfer, right? For everybody, not just the rich. Everybody, because everybody has an opportunity to get into crypto if you choose and take the risk, right? But the CBDC is not being ran the same way as crypto, of course. Right. Look who's running it.
Exactly.
So the same BS has been going on since the beginning of time is still going on right now. And they're going to try it again. The same thing that made the system fail in the first place. They're going to try it again, and they're going to sit here and try to transfer all this 1% wealth over into digital world. And on top of that, they're even cutting it in half. You could buy it at half the price. So they're even creating more inflation before the damn thing even starts.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I don't think there's any benefit for Vulcan as far as working with CBDC. I think they want to stay as far away from that because like if that CBDC goes and transferred into your wallet, I'm just thinking like, okay, this amount of money was inside this wallet. They can track it.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, this amount of Vulcan, even though it's now Vulcan, was transferred to a Vulcaner shirt. Like if someone purchased a Fowler shirt, then I think that could somehow be transacted, like traced back in the future. So I don't think personally, in my opinion, there's any like benefit of Vulcan or any blockchain working hand in hand with a CBDC token in the first place.
I don't think hand in hand, no. Like meaning like working with the government to figure out something new. No, don't do that. Yeah. Now, if you're gonna just say we'll have a pool for it for like investors who have CBDCs to just like come over, because at the end of the day, I mean, the blockchain cashes and stuff out. Nobody cares, right? Like, it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, as far as like people who've been in crypto, shouldn't touch it, because just for that same exact thing you're talking about, Curtis, If you end up, like I said, if you end up going back to some point where there's a KYC and it can be linked to you, this wallet that you might have dropped I don't know, $100,000 like 2 years from now, right? You've been like, I took profits of $100,000, right? But it's gone. I haven't used that wallet in like ever, and they end up catching it back, and they be like, oh, and you had like some CBDC in there, right? For whatever reason, you took it, and then you cashed it out. You did something with it. At some point, that stuff's going to be traced. They're going to get systems to trace this stuff. It's not going to be some dude behind the screen going line by line on a block explorer being like, oh, you did this. No, it's going to be automated. At some point, it will be automated. It will catch up, and they will come after your ass because they're going to want that tax money. Because they're greedy bastards. So like they're going to come. And then on top of that, it's a leverage tool for them, right? Because some people, right? Let's say someone had $100,000, right? They had the $100,000, they spent the $100,000, and that's it. They hit rock bottom, right? You hit rock bottom, you're trying to get yourself back up, right? So you're still in crypto, you're doing like $1,000 plays. You went from $100,000 to $1,000. Then like I said, they catch up, right? They end up catching up. And now they're saying, oh, yeah, you owe us about like $50,000 in like taxes, man. And they link it to you. Like, what do you mean? I ain't had that wallet. Oh, you sure about that? Because we got all these transactions. We have you going and sending it back to crypto.com and taking like $5,000, putting it into a debit card. You spent the debit card, bought a couple TVs, you bought a computer parts and all this stuff. We got you. Your name is on the debit card. Thank you. We got you. Okay, so what are you going to do? You're screwed, and you owe $50,000. Now you can't pay $50,000 because you struck out bad.
So I wonder, like Sky High posted here in the comments that Florida and Texas are banning CBDCs. And I think from an earlier show, I don't know if it was yours, Fowler, or I don't know if it was Prado's. I've watched so many today. But there's another state. I want to say it was I think it was Wyoming. That is also looking to ban CBDCs. So I'm curious to see how the states will respond to the federal government and what that will look like.
So like, I actually, it was me. I touched on this. I saw somebody actually say something about it. So, and I don't have any proof. I just only could go by what I've seen the government do in the past, right? The government, and at the end of the day, the federal government always wins. They always wins. You know why? Because guess what? There's always a tornado. There's always a hurricane. There's always something going on where you're going to need the federal aid. The state is going to need federal aid. And what are you going to do? You're going to say no? No, you're going to say we need help. Yeah. And guess what? You think they're going to send help if you're saying no to their CBDCs? Because guess what? That's the money they're going to send to you if you need help.
Now, I'm going to say this tongue in cheek, but there's some truth in, I won't say truth, but there's some reality in what I'm about to say. What if the states invested in something like Vulcan?
Could, but that's the thing. The Florida, when I was talking about it earlier, Florida hasn't had any other solution beyond that. They just said we're not taking CBDCs. Okay, then what are you going to do? You got Bitcoin? Are you like El Salvador or something? Because what is your alternative? Arizona is working on getting Bitcoin, right? They're doing something. I don't know about Texas. I didn't know Texas was saying no to CBDCs, but Florida I do know. And guess what? At the end of the day, they don't have anything to replace it. So in that case, because Florida just got flooded, right? Not too long ago. And what did they need? They needed help, right? Ron DeSantis is not a Democrat lover, but guess what? He was there asking for the help of Joe Biden, right? Because he needs the help. So at some point, right, they're going to need that help. And now the government doesn't have a weather machine. So I don't know. But if they do, just like every other event that's been happening with the banks and everything else, if you sit there and if these states are saying no to CBDCs, I'm pretty sure there'll be a way to get them. They're like a mob, man. They're gonna find a way for you to say yes, Because if they say the CBDC is what's the value of the dollar, where is the state going to go to get funds? They're going to I mean, if they say the dollar is gone, where are you going to? They're not. I just don't see states taking Bitcoin as a major currency when you can just go next door and just work for CBDCs. That means you'll lose people because everybody isn't on crypto. You know why everybody's on crypto? Because the government convinced them that it's a Ponzi scheme and everything else. And that's what everybody sits here and regurgitates every single day when you talk to them about crypto. There's either it's a scam or it's a Ponzi scheme.
But
so
if
how
you
are
really
you
look at it, the US dollar is a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, it's definitely
the largest Ponzi scheme.
But that's the thing. It's the belief in the US dollar. People don't believe it's a Ponzi scheme. They believe it's the most powerful thing in the world. They're like, I need more of this dollar, right? Even though it's a Ponzi scheme. But that's the thing. The banks and the government has already convinced the major population that it's a scam. It's a Ponzi scheme. So how is Ron DeSantis and the Florida government going to convince the rest of their constituents that they need to jump into Bitcoin when they've been saying that it's been a Ponzi scheme and a scam for the past almost decade or decade and a half? It's not going to happen. You'll have anarchy. So as much as I would be like, yeah, I would love the state government to actually be like adopt Bitcoin or Vulcan, but I just don't see it because you're going to have too much division. You're going to have too much division. I just don't see it. So I don't see rogues. I don't see rogue states.
I don't know, man. It really feels like the stage has been set,
right?
Exactly.
For CBDC to come through, like the bank failures, all of these cryptos, like
the pandemic, the inflation, the rising prices of gas, this and that, and the banks are failing. CBDCs are just all of a sudden they're ready to go.
The savior.
It wasn't not too long ago that Joe Biden was saying we're going to research cryptocurrency. Now all of a sudden you got CBDCs ready to go to put in people's hands. They don't need wallets, bro. Guys, they don't need wallets. They don't need to go through the same things we're going through.
Right.
The systems are already in place.
Yeah, and I was thinking as you were saying that, we're coming up on, well, it used to be April 15th. I think it's April 18th this year, right? Tax time in the U.S. And for those that get refunds, wow, what a better way to initiate the process by issuing those refunds in the way of CBDCs.
Yeah, I don't see, and the thing what you were saying, Melifo Crypto, about the like Florida like adopting Vulcan. I don't see it happen. You know why? Because they're not going to want people to get rich. They don't want people to get rich. They want to control. Even the states want to control, bro. It's the same stuff. It's the same stuff. All you have to do is convince them that all they have to do is convince Ron DeSantis that CBDCs you can control a lot better. Even at the state level, you can control them with the CBDCs. Once you tell them that, they'll be like, oh, sure. Just take CBDC. It's as much as people love to be like politics, this and that. This is why I don't get into politics. The reason why is because at the end of the day, red or blue, they don't care about you. And that rhymes.
Yeah, it's all about green.
It's about the green.
It's about the green.
That's why I always said crypto was always a savior. Right. The problem is people didn't believe. Only a select few, us, you, me, Tertius, everybody that's in this chat, everybody that's in Bitcoin, everybody's in this and that, right? We're the pioneers. And eventually, it's been a long time, man. Crypto's been out for a while. People had a lot of time to try to get into this stuff. Now the door is closing. It's closing. It's like you ever seen one of those movies when like a submarine movie or a ship movie and the boat is starting to sink and people start closing the doors, right? Start running to close the bulkhead doors.
Right.
And then it's always some dude like, I can't get there. I can't get there. That's going to be everybody else outside of crypto. I can't get there. That's exactly what's going on, guys. This was bound to happen. Just like you said, Tertius, it just seemed like game has been set. It has been set. It has been. Their plans have been orchestrated. I don't know how long, but it really dawns on me, the only big event I can start at really is the pandemic. This is when, as far as like implementing their plan, it seems like from the pandemic standpoint, pandemic was herd mentality, testing herd mentality. That's the vaccination stuff, right? You put out there, you need vaccinations. Everybody else was telling everybody else to get vaccinations, and it spread like wildfire. Most of the people got vaccinations. Hell, I got jabbed a couple times, but after a couple times, I said no more jabs. No more jabs. And people are still trying to tell me this was after the pandemic. People were like, you need to get your vaccination jab. Why do I need another vaccination? No one's dying on TV anymore. There's no counter no more. There's no red map no more. Why do I need a vaccination still? Don't I got enough of this stuff in me, like flowing through me, right? Why do you keep trying to pump me with this stuff? And that's scary. But that's the thing. That's the herd mentality thing. Because no matter what, even if on TV it went away, they still convince people to actually go get more. Go get more of this stuff. Keep jabbing yourselves, right? There's maybe a reason why some people do, but it's a herd mentality thing. That was that, right? So then, right after the pandemic, what happened? We started having uncivil unrest, right? We started having protests for whatever reason, right? Multiple reasons, right? We had lootings, we had people getting killed, we had people this and that, we had people on the doorsteps of the fucking White House, right? Bam, right? You got that. Then you have rising prices. Then you got January 6th. We got all these things, right, happening within a couple years. Not even a couple years.
Yep.
Isn't that kind of weird, guys? Don't you guys think that's kind of weird that all these things are happening within a certain amount of time, and in the background of everything, CBDCs are being made. Nothing pauses on the back end. But guess what? There's things happening out there right now that's changing, and it's allowing other things in the background to happen. The banks are failing. Give us a reason to put a different currency in, right? It's all playing out the way they want it to play out. It's just we can't necessarily always see it while it's happening. We always are like hindsight 2020 style stuff until you get into the flow of things. Now we kind of like in the flow of things, right? We kind of know now. We like the banks are just failing and stuff, but look, we know they're pushing the CBDC stuff.
Right. Yeah. The bank failing situation may just be a stage distraction, right?
Yeah.
Could be a stage distraction. And
it's the perfect
for putting the link here, the YouTube link to the Coin Bureau video.
There it is. That's the one.
See that. Yeah, I'm gonna go check that out.
Yeah, it's that's what I'm saying, man. If you listen to that, it's clear as day. Like Coin Bureau actually has his stuff perfectly set. He explains it perfectly, like, and it makes all the sense in the world. The Fed now, the CBDC stuff, the banks, all this stuff, man. If you put it together, it lines up properly. We're going into a digital age. The U.S. government is going to drag the rest of the population into the digital world, kicking and screaming. They might not be in crypto with us, but they're going to be on the digital currency system. All right. And that's the system they're going to be on, where the government can basically micromanage the population so inflation doesn't run rampant on the new system. Right. This is how this is their way of solving inflation, is to control it where it doesn't go out of control. Like, this is what they're going to do. You can control a US dollar, right? You can't control a US dollar. You can control it while it's before it gets printed, right? They have the power to print or not print. And that's about it. Because once it's printed and it gets out, it's on its own, baby. It's on its own. So now with a digital currency, they'd be like, okay, we can send out the currency. I mean, no problem. And we could do whatever. We could alter it while it's out there, right? They're not going to have fire pits. They ain't have no fire pit. Like, why? Like, why? They're not going to have a fire pit. They're just going to hit delete. That's all they're going to do. They're just going to hit delete. Shit.
Yeah, I'm going to try to pull up this video real quick. For some reason, I can't copy the link from within the text of here, but yeah, I'm gonna try to pull that up real quick, Biz.
Oh yeah, okay, you got it.
Yeah, if you have it handy, Fowler, go ahead and check it out.
Yeah, I got it right
on your side. Okay.
All right. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy what they can do with the CBDCs. Like, they just have full freedom. Like they're going to be regulating themselves. So they have full force to do whatever they want. If they wanted to do a fire pit, they could possibly even do that. Or if they wanted to print more, add more to the circulation supply, like, man, it's
something.
Yeah, but why would they? They don't need to.
Something.
A fire pit only makes people value, right? It only makes value go up, honestly, because they're taking away supply. They don't want to do that. That means people that has money in the digital currency in their hand just goes up. They're not gonna want to do that. They want to keep this shit low. They want to keep people poor, and the people who are rich, they have more of it. That's the whole point. They're not gonna do any fire pit. That's for us. That's people who want to become rich. like that's us.
Right.
All right. You guys ready?
Yeah, let's check this out.
Let's hit it.
Governments around the world are itching to develop their own central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. And today, more than 90% of all central banks are working on them. Not surprisingly, the development of CBDCs has accelerated during the crypto bear market. Over the last few months, dozens of countries have made progress towards their collective end goal of total currency control. That's why I'm going to give you a quick recap of what CBDCs are, bring you up to speed on their development in most regions, and tell you why existing CBDC projects suggest they will not succeed. As the name suggests, a central bank digital currency, or CBDC, is a digital currency that's issued by a country's central bank. There are actually two types of CBDC: wholesale CBDCs, which will be used by select individuals and institutions, and retail CBDCs, which will be used by regular folks like you and me. In other words, there will be two CBDC systems, one for the people in power and one for the rest of us. The CBDC developments I'll be discussing today aim to retail CBDCs. This is because existing research by central banks about retail CBDCs suggest they will have some seriously dystopian qualities. These include controlling how much you can save, how much you can spend, and where you can spend it. If you watched our video about the difference between CBDCs and cryptocurrencies, you'll know that the two are polar opposites. CBDCs allow the government to control your money, whereas crypto puts you in control. You control how much you save, how much you spend, and where. And remember, the ability to truly own your assets and decide how they are used is the real definition of financial freedom. You could have trillions of dollars of CBDC in your account, but you will never be truly in control of that money, nor any assets that trade against CBDCs, which will eventually be most of them. As I mentioned in the introduction, almost every single central bank is working on a CBDC of some kind. The reasons why they're developing CBDCs vary from country to country. For retail CBDCs, the reasons tend to relate to control. For wholesale CBDCs, the reasons tend to relate to convenience and cost. As you might have guessed, most countries are focusing on the development of retail CBDCs. This is basically because their financial systems have become so unstable that the only way to keep them intact is by controlling every transaction in the economy. This has been openly admitted to by some central banks. Now, if you're wondering why financial systems have become so unstable, the short answer is debt and inflation. Most governments have massive debts that they can never pay back. Their only option is to erode the value of this debt through inflation by having central banks keep interest rates artificially low. The problem is that inflation causes lots of social and political issues. More importantly, it erodes the public's confidence in the currency itself. If the public loses confidence in the currency, this risks a foreign currency takeover. This is the worst possible outcome from the perspective of the government. That's because if a foreign currency takes over, the country becomes dependent on the country which issues that currency. One example is El Salvador, whose national currency was replaced by the US dollar in 2001. El Salvador's subsequent adoption of BTC is ultimately an attempt to escape US influence. Now, believe it or not, but this is the same motivation for most of the CBDC development around the world. Countries want to maintain their monetary sovereignty and don't want to be forced to adopt the US dollar, the euro, or the yuan, nor be subject to the conditions that come with adopting a foreign currency. This is why smaller countries have been rushing their CBDC development, while larger countries have been taking their time. It's also why larger countries are more interested in using their CBDCs for other things completely unrelated to monetary sovereignty, such as social and environmental policies. Keep this context in mind as I bring you up to speed on the CBDC development in various countries. Now, what's interesting is that it appears many countries were considering issuing a so-called synthetic CBDC instead of an actual CBDC. For those unfamiliar, a synthetic CBDC is essentially a centralized cryptocurrency stablecoin controlled by the government, with reserves kept at the central bank. If you watched our video about Circle, you'll know that the company seemed to be in favor of this synthetic CBDC setup, and countries also seemed open to the idea. However, this appears to have changed following the collapse of FTX in November. Regular CBDC development has been re-accelerating ever since. This re-acceleration has been apparent in the USA, where politicians and regulators were considering whether USD stablecoins could play the role of a CBDC. For reference, most stablecoins are backed by government debt. This makes them ideal for subsidizing government spending, which governments obviously like. Although some politicians and regulators are still interested in the idea, the aftermath of FTX has turned the focus back to standard CBDCs in the US of A. Case in point, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York announced a brand new CBDC pilot with major commercial banks just a few days after FTX collapsed. In December 2022, the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston completed its own CBDC pilot, which had been conducted with the help of MIT. I'll quickly note that there's been speculation that Algorand will be chosen to host the US CBDC, given that the project's founder is a professor at MIT. Well, I suppose we'll find out in time. In any case, in February this year, the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco posted a job advert looking for developers to work on a CBDC pilot. A couple of weeks later, a former White House advisor revealed that the current US administration is explicitly pushing for a CBDC and trying to get rid of crypto. Earlier this month, the US Department of the Treasury announced it would be expanding its CBDC research, specifically examining technical issues and public interest related to both wholesale and retail CBDCs. Unfortunately, no timelines were provided on when a digital dollar will actually be developed. That said, the Federal Reserve will be releasing its FedNow fast payment system sometime between May and July. Now, fast payment systems are analogous to CBDC systems. It's possible that the Fed sees similar cryptocurrency systems, such as Silvergate's exchange network, as direct competitors to FedNow.
So I just want to pause that real quick. So that's where I was talking about. Silvergate went down. The Fed jumps in, covers the insurance.
Right.
And now this video is only 9 days old, right? But that's what I'm saying. Literally plug and play. And they said it was going to be launching July 2023. Perfect time. Oh,
So it was just appropriation.
That's what I'm saying. The bank
so
is gone.
soon.
Oh man, we could launch it. This perfect time. Perfect time. The Silvergate exchange network is gone. There's no competitor.
North of the border, meanwhile, Canada too is examining CBDCs. This examination likewise accelerated last autumn. Stricter crypto regulations have been introduced as the country's interest in CBDCs has increased, with stablecoins being the latest target. This is probably because they are seen as direct competitors to CBDCs. And south of the border, the launch of Mexico's digital peso was delayed in January. The digital peso was expected to be launched in 2024, but has reportedly been delayed due to a series of legal, administrative, and technological issues. As you'll see, this is the tip of the iceberg of issues associated with CBDCs. Now, in the UK, where yours truly hails from, the Bank of England began accepting applications for a digital wallet in December last year. In January, the BOE began hiring people to develop the digital pound, dubbed Britcoin in the press, and offering around £60,000 a year as compensation to be head of the CBDC project. Well, good luck with that. In the weeks that followed, BOE officials made a series of promises to the British public about the digital pound. First, they promised that it won't replace cash. Then they promised that it won't replace stablecoins. People were sceptical because CBDC reports suggest the opposite. In February and March, BOE officials decided to be honest. First, they revealed that they plan on limiting digital pound holdings to 10,000 GBP per person. Then they revealed that a digital pound could prevent bank runs, effectively confirming that they plan on freezing holdings during times of crisis. At the same time, banks in
That's the
the
same
UK
thing.
started blocking
told you.
payments to crypto exchanges, which
Same
I'm
thing.
sure is just a huge coincidence. I dare not imagine what restrictions they'll place on crypto investing once the digital pound is rolled out sometime in 2025.
Can't believe the government.
It's a similar story in the EU. In December, the European Central Bank published its latest progress report about the digital euro, which we actually covered in another video. If you've seen it, you might recall that the ECB decided to let the commercial banking sector handle everything bar the issuance of its CBDC. In the months that followed, ECB officials made a series of similar promises to the European public about the digital euro. First, they promised that it will preserve privacy. Then they promised that it won't be programmable. Again, folks were skeptical because CBDC reports again suggest the opposite. Well, I guess we'll find out once the digital euro is rolled out sometime in 2026. Elsewhere in Europe, Ukraine has also been hard at work on its CBDC. Despite some rather more pressing problems, the country has managed to continue the development of its digital hryvnia. The first draft of its CBDC was published in late November last year, and it likely won't be released until the war is over. That hasn't stopped Ukrainian officials from proclaiming that they'll proudly take payment in the digital hryvnia. At the same time, the Ukrainian central bank has stopped fiat transfers to and from cryptocurrency exchanges, even though the crypto industry has been helping the country throughout the conflict. On that note, I couldn't help but notice that the Ukrainian government recently signed a deal with BlackRock to rebuild the country once Putin's military has finished destroying it, whenever that might be. This is concerning because it suggests that the asset manager will force its lunatic ESG ideology on the war-weary population. This would be easy to do using a CBDC. As the saying goes, never let a good crisis go to waste. On the other side of the battlefield, meanwhile, the Russian central bank has been Russian to roll out a digital ruble. After months, if not years of deliberation, Russia announced it would be building a CBDC in January, and the first pilot is tentatively scheduled for April. It's not entirely clear when the full rollout will occur. Again, Russia has a few other issues on its plate that arguably take priority. What is clear is that Russia is contemplating using cryptocurrency for international trade. This would be bad in the short term, but good in the long term, in the same way that it was bad because crypto initially tended to be used for illicit purposes, but good because regular people eventually began adopting it for the benefits it brings. In Asia, meanwhile, China has been struggling to get its citizens to adopt its digital yuan, which launched in January 2022. The digital yuan hit an arbitrary milestone of $14 billion of transactions last October. In January this year, the digital yuan became programmable and was used to buy assets for the first time. Oddly enough, Hong Kong citizens aren't interested in the digital yuan. The de facto Chinese province has been pushing forward with its own CBDC, in fact. The most recent pilot took place in October. What's even more odd is that Hong Kong is starting to embrace cryptocurrency, offering institutional access by June. I suspect this has something to do with the larger geopolitical game being played, but that's a topic for another time. In India, meanwhile, the Reserve Bank of India announced its digital rupee pilot in November, completed it in December and has been in the process of rolling it out across the country since the start of this year. At the same time, the country has been cracking down on crypto by introducing taxes and contemplating a ban. Next door in Pakistan, the State Bank of Pakistan is planning on introducing a CBDC by 2025. If the actions of its neighbour are any indicator, the end game will be to have the Pakistani rupee as the only currency available. Indonesia also explicitly said this in December last year and is in the process of rolling out its CBDC. Next door in Singapore, the Monetary Authority of Singapore announced in November that it's working on a retail CBDC with the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. And in Japan, a retail CBDC pilot will begin next month. The goal is to have a full rollout by 2026. Not sure about Singapore. Then, in Kazakhstan, the National Bank of Kazakhstan announced in October that it would be building its CBDC on the BNB chain and has stuck to its guns despite the subsequent crypto collapse. Kazakhstan's CBDC trials began on the BNB chain earlier this year and are expected to run until 2025, when a full-scale rollout will occur. The Middle East region has likewise been accelerating its CBDC development. Turkey has taken the lead, which is to be expected given that the country has been experiencing exponential inflation. Turkey completed its first CBDC pilot in December and announced its digital ID just a few weeks later. If you watched our video about digital ID, you'll know that it's required for a full-scale rollout of CBDCs. This is simply because central banks and governments need to know who's who so they can give money to their friends and take money from their enemies.
Bam! You have to have digital ID for a full rollout. So everything that's happening in China, it's a must. It's a must. So if it rolls out in the US, best believe, and what was it? I don't know if you guys have heard of Real ID, but that's like the thing they're supposed to be trying to roll out for like driver's licenses and stuff. Yeah, it could be a digital ID right there. Like,
I think we have that in Hawaii. Is that with the star?
Yeah.
Right?
Bam.
The gold star. Yeah, we got that.
Bam.
So what is that? Real ID?
It's just a certification, right? Like, like you can use
so-
it to fly on airplanes.
Yeah, so they're saying that you can't just what you've been doing for the longest, right? Go on a plane and just show them your ID with your ticket. No. Now you have to have a special driver's license now with a little star on it, and that'll allow you to use the process to fly, which is bullshit. It's just basically telling you we need you to come in, get this new ID so we can ID you, tag you, put you in the system, and now you're digital. That's it. That's all it's it. They give you the same exact card that you had before you went in.
Wow.
It's literally the same information. It's not to change. They just need you to come in so we can digitally tag you.
So
like
that sounds like an accelerated like TSA pre-check. So I used to travel a lot, and I had to do it was better for me to have TSA pre-check.
Yeah.
So wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's telling you, man. He's telling you.
This is literally what will happen. Anyways, here in the UAE, the central bank announced its CBDC rollout in February. The UAE expects to have its CBDC up and running by 2026. It looks like Saudi Arabia is going to wait and see how that goes because it's still in the process of researching CBDCs with no concrete plans of launching its own. This is a much longer timeline than those found in Latin America, with Brazil expecting to have its CBDC up and running by 2024. I honestly haven't seen that many other CBDC announcements coming out of Latin America in recent months. This could be due to a reporting barrier or because mass crypto adoption is well underway across the continent. Fingers crossed it's the second. Meanwhile, Australia seems to be open to using crypto projects to power its CBDC. That's because one of Australia's largest banks recently leveraged Ethereum and Algorand to launch an Aussie dollar stablecoin. The Australian Central Bank is expected to have its first CBDC pilots finished by mid-year. Struth. So, this brings me to the only region I haven't yet mentioned, which is, of course, Africa. I left Africa for last because it gives us a glimpse into what governments around the world will do to push their CBDCs. It also provides concrete evidence that these CBDC rollouts will be mostly unsuccessful. Now, if you look at the Google search trends for CBDCs, you'll notice they went parabolic in December. This is because December is when the Nigerian government set limits on cash use in the country. This was done to try and force the population to adopt its e-Naira, which was released back in October 2021. To put things into perspective, only 0.05% of Nigerian citizens adopted the e-Naira in its first year. Rather than convince them to adopt it, the government's move to restrict cash use only increased the opposition to its CBDC. By February this year, adoption had not increased and cash was in short supply. Rather than concede defeat, however, the Nigerian government attempted to revamp the e-Naira with the help of an American company. Just a few days ago, the Nigerian Supreme Court struck down the attempt to redesign the e-Naira and stated that cash use should be allowed until at least December this year. While this was not exactly an admission of defeat, nor an acknowledgement that Nigerians don't want a CBDC, it's the closest its citizens have come to convincing their government to keep cash in circulation. It also foreshadows the struggles that the citizens of other countries will have to endure to preserve their own cash. This begs the question of how governments will convince their citizens to voluntarily adopt their CBDCs. One answer would be to inflate away fiat currencies so that cash becomes worthless, but this would cause all the issues I mentioned earlier. Another answer would be to use a crisis of some kind. If you watched our video about bank bail-ins, you'll know that governments could use a collapse of the banking system to roll out CBDCs. That's because during the next collapse, the assets you have in the banks will be used to bail them out. The government could simply give you their CBDC in return. As clever as this solution would be, it would probably come with its own set of problems. That's why governments might opt for a third solution. That's to slowly squeeze everyone financially using a combination of higher interest rates and high inflation. They'll then offer their CBDC as a form of basic income. They could program the CBDC so that it can only be spent on certain things in certain places and at certain times, so that it doesn't cause inflation to the point that their citizens start adopting foreign currencies. There's just one problem with this plan, and that's that they don't have the developers. The BOE and the ECB have both admitted that they're struggling to hire the right type of talent. Well, call me crazy, but offering a 5-figure salary to create a $1 trillion digital currency might have something to do with that. Anyone who knows how to build digital currencies can make much more in cryptocurrency. As the larger central banks struggle to hire, the smaller central banks will continue rolling out their CBDCs and show the world just how bad it's going to be. Consider Iran, which has been freezing the bank accounts of women. What will the optics be when it does this using its upcoming CBDC?
Look at that.
Then there's the issue of credible neutrality. Even if most central banks succeed in rolling out their CBDCs, they won't be comfortable holding or transacting in foreign CBDCs that can be frozen at the click of a button. I think they'll quickly realize that BTC is the only credibly neutral currency and use it instead. Say, did you know it will be legal for central banks to hold crypto on their balance sheets starting January 2025? More about that in the description. And with that, thank you so much for watching.
So there you go.
Before you even think about
Wow. I didn't realize how worldwide, like, every country and states are creating their own CBDCs.
But did you check
At
out
the
the
same
timeline though, Curtius?
All pretty near, like, last year and this year. Like, the
But
rollout
when last year?
included late last year was
like
what.
What happened late last year? FTX.
Boom. Boom.
Was FTX last year?
Yeah,
That
FTX.
felt like
FTX,
early November.
Luna was around that
Man,
time.
Right. So yeah, so it's like, you know, there's some dots to connect here.
Mhm.
You know, Luna failed. There were seems like a lot of those you know, high interest
The loan,
DeFi projects
yeah.
started to rug around that time. Then FTX went under, and it's just
Right.
interesting.
Yeah.
I hate to cut you off, Curtis, but yeah, I mean, what you were saying is kind of made me think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize. I guess they finally caught him this year. But I didn't realize how time flew by. But yeah, Luna, FTX, everything crashing, and yeah, I didn't realize how worldwide, like, everyone's creating their own CBDCs all at the same time. It's mind-boggling.
Looks
It's
pretty
like
organized to me, don't you think?
it likes.
It looks
That's what I
very
was gonna
organized.
say. Like, it looks like they're all moving towards the same thing.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
That's why I was saying, you guys think that US dollars would be there. I honestly think they'll kill it. They're ready to kill it because he just told you. He gave you two options. Is either one, the crisis, where they're gonna give it to you, and then they just like kind of like make you hungry where you want more, and then they kind of like ease it up, or like they said, they take over the banks, right? They take over the banks and they just filter it through the banks. They just say, here, instead of us giving you US dollar, because the US dollar is all inflated and shit, it's down the hill anyway. We're gonna give you these CBDCs. They're gonna be like, it's just as good as cash, and people are gonna take it because you know why? Because they don't care. Only thing they care about is that you're able to go on Amazon and buy whatever you can on Amazon, pay your bills, go to the grocery store, buy eggs, buy milk. If you're able to do those things, they don't care. They just want to make it easy where you just swipe your card. And as long as they keep that same system, it's perfectly fine. Bam. That's it. That is it. That is the game plan, guys. We're in the point where transition is happening. The transition is happening right now as we speak.
Yeah.
This is it. That's why I said the doorway to getting into your savior. Like I said, the submarine door, when the submarine's taking on water, everybody's running, closing doors. That's happening right now. Like, if you're in, you're in. Get your wealth in here. Put it in Bitcoin. Just put it in something. Because guess what? It's got to get ugly. It's about to get ugly. You think some banks
we got a
went down?
comment from Prelvis. He's saying here that if y'all saw when I was on Daniel's live stream a few days ago, this is what I was talking about. There will be some type of crisis, and wow,
I'm gonna tell you what
kind of happening.
I can tell you what the crisis is, guys. It's real simple. It's gonna look like depression level stuff. Everything's gonna fail around you until they get that CBDC out there. And once people accept it, that's when all the pain is going to stop. Until people accept it, there will be pain. And that pain looks like looting. It looks like anarchy. It looks like the protests. It looks like people losing their minds and bankers jumping out of windows, that type of stuff, that level of stuff. The old the Enron stuff. Remember the Enron stuff? People was jumping out of windows, like that type of stuff. Like, that level.
I have a story about the Enron situation, but I'm not gonna mention that yet. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah, that level of desperation. That's what they're gonna use. They're gonna use that level of desperation where people are at their worst, and they're gonna be like, look. And they've already shown you that they can control it, right? They've already shown you that the police and everything, they can do whatever they need to do to like subside it. But then at any point, they could just say, hey, we're throwing out stimulus money in the form of CBDCs. And at that point, they can control that stimulus.
Yeah.
Right?
We got a comment from Richard Hudman. This sounds like Bible prophecy stuff. I was going to mention that because it sounds like that Mark, right? But wow, yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. And
I mean, I could have been talking about gaming. I don't know how long for the past couple of weeks. I haven't, because this stuff is real. Like, this stuff is happening. Like the whole little why we got into crypto stuff. Like, I don't know if some of you guys might got into for like just the wealth portion. Me, it was a whole different reason. I always believed in the whole being the universal currency where you could just like take it anywhere, no matter what, you could be able to convert it, and no one can stop you. Nobody can tell you how to use your money. Nobody can tell you how to use your wealth. That's why I believe in crypto. I don't believe in fucking CBDCs. because all that is what you just heard this man just say. He's literally telling you that is you do not have financial freedom underneath a CBDC. They just shows you Iran was like, we turn off if we catch women without their hijabs on, guess what? They're gonna be like, if they catch you, they're gonna turn off your money. They're gonna turn off your CBDCs. That means you're poor. Yeah. You have nothing. You have no power. You have zero power.
Right. I mean, and there's a difference in, I have some video notes that I have on the sideline of things that I want to do. And one of the videos I wanted to produce at some point is the difference between financial security and financial freedom. Those are two different things. Mm-hmm. You can be financially secure with CBDCs, but you're not financially free.
Exactly.
Right.
At any point, you're not free. Right. And there's no point with CBDC. If you, like you said, you can be a millionaire in CBDC. But at any point, the government
you want.
Yeah. If the
government allows you to.
Exactly. The government said we don't want you no more. We turning you off. Now you're poor. Right. Now you're homeless. You lost everything. Yeah. What was that movie? What was the movie Eddie Murphy?
Crazy.
The one with Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, the old one.
I'm not sure which one you're referring to.
Trading Places.
There was a sci-fi movie that did that too. Like, they shut off my credits. I can't use it.
Yeah, right. But they did it with Trading Places. They turned off all his stuff, and then he was at that point. They just made him poor. Yeah, put him in jail.
That's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what you're looking
at. You are more than welcome to join us up here, man. I just saw Biz's comment, but yeah, Prelvis, any of you all, you're welcome to join the panel. The link is in the comments.
So Crypto Pride said, what do we do now?
Yeah, so what's the plan, Fowler?
The plan is simple. We're already here. We're in Vulcan, right? You want to be, what the whole thing is about crypto is you want to find a project, blockchain, whatever, to put your wealth in that's stable, that's going to grow, and you're going to make money, and it's not going to leave, right? It's not going to rug or anything like that. That's the whole point of finding crypto. You need to find a project, stick to it. That's why everybody always said, if you're in crypto, as long as you find a good project, you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. You'll be fine. It's going to go up eventually, right? And that eventually time is coming now when this whole transition happens, right? When crypto becomes legit. Like, it's not, when everybody, all the people outside of crypto, when they see us rise, and they're like, oh my God, it wasn't a Ponzi scheme. It wasn't a scam. It was our savior. And now they're gone. They've left. And that's what it will be, because they will be under the CBDC boot. We won't. That is the difference. So we don't have to do anything else. We just have to sit tight and be happy where we at. That's honestly,
we'll have to correct you there. I think there is one thing we need to do and continue to do, and it kind of, and Prelvis kind of speaks to this in his comment. For those people who aren't educated in the difference between cryptocurrency and digital currency, will suffer because of ignorance. And I think what it is that we need to continue to do is stay educated. Like the video that you just played, we gotta stay up on what's going on in this space.
You have to, and another thing is, and the one thing I do not like about the crypto space, and you see it, is politics. People in crypto have to let go of politics. You have to get rid of this left and this right, this red and this blue. You have to let it go. The sooner you let it go, the sooner you will be able to see what crypto can do for everyone. Beyond politics. Politics is what the reason why that system is what it is, right? Because there's so much dirt happening in the dark that we do not see, and it's happened for decades, centuries, honestly, right? It's been happening, and that system you don't want to be a part of. I don't want to be a part of it, right? I don't talk about politics because it has nothing to do where I'm going. Crypto is an apple. Crypto is an apple right now. Okay, it's about this big, right? I want it to be this big eventually. Politics is not a part of it, right? The old financial systems aren't a part of it. That's why CBDCs aren't technically a part of crypto. They're on their own system. It's just they're part of it, but they're not working. They don't have a blockchain. They're not gonna let you put projects on and stuff. No, it's just to control the people that they want to be in it. That's it. That's all it is. It's just it's just a hamster cage. That's all it is. It's a hamster cage. We want people to be on the wheel, powering it, giving it value, and that's it. That's all they want. Something that has value.
Absolutely.
That they can manipulate.
Welcome, Provost, to the show, brother. Appreciate you for joining us, man.
Hey, Provost.
What's up, brothers? How y'all doing tonight?
Good to see you.
Beard looking awesome as usual.
Yeah, glad to be here with y'all. You guys are hitting the nail dead on the head, man. I mean, and punching it all the way through the damn wood. I mean, it's just the actual factuals, right? And I talked about this a few days ago with Daniel Prado, with live stream, and we were talking about this, as far as the difference between, and this goes back to my comment that I made, educated people that are in crypto and people that are not educated, because they're creating the problem and giving us the solution. And all this is, and Fowler is right, all this is just more manipulation. They're manipulating people who don't know and who are ignorant, and they're leading them down a path to more enslavement. And that's what this all boils down to. Because see, all of us that are in the crypto community, in the crypto world, and that have been educated, we have these special glasses on. And we see things differently than the regular folks, right? And it's like I just told a really good friend of mine. She actually used to be my mentor when I was in the Navy, just a couple of weeks ago. I just told her, because we were having this crypto talk and stuff like that. I said, there's a difference between being ignorant and being stupid. You can hear about this stuff, but there are people out there that still refuse to get educated in this space. And when it comes down to it, when the government do what they do and they introduce this Fed coin, this Trump coin, or whatever this coin is going to be, a CBDC, some type of coin that they will still be able to manipulate and be able to control. It's all about control.
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as you're in crypto and you understand the difference between crypto and digital currencies, you'll be fine. And you got to understand how to separate the two.
Right.
I think what's going to really be a shock to everybody is when they when the masses find out. And I think I don't know how this is going to work, but I swear to God, I see what they're doing with this Fed now stuff. The Fed now stuff is really the choke point. That is the choke point. And we've never had to worry about the choke point because it never existed for us. We were able to come in and go as we please, right? We never. I mean, we knew how to maneuver, right? But there was never a choke point. Never a choke point. Now it's actual choke point where it affects everyone. So how you even offer it will probably change once this Fed now stuff goes. Like, crypto.com, Binance.us, Coinbase, all the stuff's going to change as soon as they activate that Fed now. And there won't be no other road for those exchanges to use because the SEN is gone. It is the Fed now. If you want 24/7, you have to go through them. Even if you went through just a traditional bank on retail days and times, it's still at this point the Fed is connected because they're saving the banks. So you're still going through the government. At this point, I feel like it's too late now. How are they going to let people go through and do these things? I don't know. Are they going to let CBDCs be transacted with crypto? Who the hell knows, right? Because it might. I mean, they have that type of control.
Yeah,
You might
I
not
think they would have to though, because I think there's enough people that are in the crypto space today. They'll have a revolt on their hands.
I don't know. See,
I
I mean,
think
well, that's
I
the
think
thing.
there would be enough people that will fight back.
I know.
I would like to
I
think
think
so
there'll still.
too.
I think there'll still be. I think there'll still be a way for stable coins to be utilized. I think there'll still be a way. I'm talking about a little bit down the future, not more or less near future, more or less down the road. Once, because we already see what the government does. Once they get a hold of stuff, they get better. Right? They got better over the past 5-6 years. Right? So if they implement Fed now, they're only going to get better. Right? So will they allow people to transact that way with CBDCs? Not sure. How are we going to offload on ramp and stuff like that? I'm not sure. Are we actually forced to actually interact with CBDCs? I don't know.
Right.
But at this point, as far as the masses, the regular people who was always calling this stuff a Ponzi scheme, scams, and everything else, and the reason why they didn't want to learn and they didn't want to understand what was going on with real money, well, their term of real money, that's not real money. That's the real Ponzi scheme. And guess what? Now we're going to have people, like Prel said, people going to want to learn. People going to want to learn. Now, me personally, the people who come up to me and ask for learning, no, I'm not going to be the one teaching you. Watch my videos. And that's the only thing I can.
Elvis got you covered though, right?
I know, I get that. I'm just saying. So I'm just saying, as far as me as a person, I've been trying to get people. I tried to get people in when I first started. This was back maybe 2014. Okay, and I tried for years. I tried to get people for years, and I used to get nothing but scam this, Ponzi this. You're a scammer. You trying to scam us? Like, I mean, I'm about to be rich. I don't give no fuck. Okay, but that's the thing. Like, I really don't.
People in the back.
Exactly. I really don't. Now, probably God bless his soul. God bless his soul, because he still believes that, and he should, because somebody needs to teach people. Somebody who have the patience to teach people. I'm not a teacher like that. I'm not that type of guy.
Yeah, I mean, and we need that. We do need teachers, because I think one of the things that, and I have to admit, I got caught up in it a little bit, but I got, I was able to kind of redirect my path, and that was this whole concept of passive income.
Yeah.
And you think you could just throw money at it and you could go back and do whatever it was you were doing, and you come back and that money is there in your pocket. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. There is always something for you to do. Now, it may not be, spending hours on end, but you may need to spend 15 minutes here. You may need to spend 30 minutes there. You may need to go read an article. You may need to go watch a video. There is something that you're going to need to do to stay on top of your game to make sure that you're getting the most out of that investment. It's not completely just sit on your hands passive.
Like, right. I went on a date last night, right? And the conversation, of course, for me is always gonna be crypto, because that's all I know, right?
So, me.
Right. So it's all about crypto, right? But this date I went on, she was actually kind of receptive to it. She was actually kind of understanding the whole thing about what's going on now with the banks and stuff. And the thing she asked me was, how did you learn this? Did you learn this in school and all this stuff, and dealing with contracts, codes? I'm like, no, there's no school that teaches crypto. There's no anything. I had to literally learn all this stuff myself. I had to fail over and over. I had to lose thousands on top of thousands on top of thousands of dollars to learn. Most people, when they lose like that, they leave and they quit. I had to do these things. But the problem was, I never documented how I got here. I never documented. I can repeat a little bit of it, right? Curtius has heard my story from beginning to end, right? And it's a scary ass fucking story, let me tell you. But I can't teach that. I can't teach that. Yeah, Perlis can teach them the what you would be like if Perlis had to put it on the book, he could, right? If he wanted to print a book, he could. With the information he slaps in there. I couldn't, because I learned this way of just like I don't know what's called like failure or something, but eventually I got the Vulcan, right? Like I had to fail for years to get here.
My
And
dad used to have a comment, and about situations like that, and he called it paid learning.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what you had, Fowler, and I had the
Yeah.
same. I had
Yeah.
the same thing. It's paid learning.
Yeah, and I don't think it's you don't I don't see you getting here without paid learning. Do you get to? I mean, yeah, there's people that can recommend Vulcan to you, right? But imagine if you were just someone solo, right? I had to literally stumble upon this on somebody else's tears, right? Someone's tears in Seifu became my opportunity because they missed out on a pre-sale and they cried when they saw Seifu go to the moon of $300. His thing was he should have been rich. He should have been stupid rich. And he cried. But that's how I heard about Seifu. And then the next time I saw Seifu after that, Seifu was at $9. So it fell from 300 to 9. So of course, I'm gonna investigate and see if what's left of Seifu. And of course, at that time, what was happening? All types of events. All type of events. All those inflation events, right? Scared the living shit out of the markets. Everything died. So of course I knew it wasn't the end. It's just another event. So boom, that was my opportunity. And I'm in. Can you teach that? Can you teach that? Can you teach that situation? You can't. Pelvis can tell them everything right about crypto, but they still would miss out on Vulcan by themselves if somebody didn't tell them how to get there.
Preach.
Well, you are spot on that.
Yeah.
So let me add my 4 cents to this, right? I come across people, and this is both from my past, my Navy career, from my past job, the job that crypto allowed me to fire my boss. It was a supervisory position for the government, for the U.S. Army. Good paying job with benefits, but I fired their asses on November 6th, 2021, and haven't looked back since.
Congrats.
Crypto, thank you, sir. Crypto gives you freedom. And if you don't believe that, like I was just talking about, you put these glasses on. Once you put these glasses on, you see the world for what it really is. Then you start to make changes. You start to see, and you start to have epiphanies, and you will start to change your life. It's a mindset change, is what it is. You would be utterly amazed at how many people come across my path that ask me all the time or tell me, because I'm always talking about crypto, and y'all know I'm a biker too. So I'm always around, people that want to make it and want to change their life, want a better bike or whatever, right? Oh, Bull, I'm gonna have to get with you about that crypto stuff, man. I see you doing big things. Because we're friends on Facebook, or we socially media connected or whatever. And I tell them point blank, I can't sit down with you in a 2-hour conversation and give you all this crypto knowledge that I have. Please understand that, because you're only going to retain 5% of what I tell you, or you're going to retain the attractive shit that I tell you, as far as how much money that, I made, and, how much I love nodes. And, once you learn the skill of trading, you become a walking ATM, and you make money at your discretion. I can't tell them or explain that to them or drill it in their heads. And I've had multiple conversations with the same people over and over again. They see me, I got to get with you, Bull. Like, no, you don't. Not until you get in my crypto education. Then I have people. I've had family come to me wanting me to invest for them in crypto. Nope. Not unless you get into crypto education. Not unless you get educated. I refuse to do business with people that refuse to get crypto educated.
And it should be like that.
Because, and I'm gonna tell you why, Fowler. Because if they get in, because it's one guarantee that I make with crypto. You're gonna make money, but you also gonna lose money. And what education provides you a way to minimize your losses. And people just don't understand that. And so if you take someone's money and invest it in a coin or a token or whatever, and it shits the bed, next thing you know, they blaming you for losing, or you telling them, hey, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not I have no education in finances, no official education in finances. It's all been, I've made a lot of money. Hell, I've lost money, a shit ton. I've lost more money in one damn day, in one click, than some people make in a year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true.
Mm-hmm. And it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah, it is sad.
It's sad, but guess what? That's the only way. That's the only way you can get here.
Yes.
And that was my biggest point. Is that no matter how much education you give them, if people aren't willing to literally put the addresses in themselves, to hit the connect button to the Web3 portals, if they're not willing to do that and see what happens on the other side of that wallet connect, or whatever happens the next day when whatever they invest or whatever, if they don't do that themselves, they'll never get to the point where we're going.
That's a wrap.
Like even with I put somebody in Vulcan. I put somebody in Vulcan, but then I stopped talking to that person. So now what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? They have no idea what's going on. I put them in the crypto on crack group in Facebook, and I'm like, this is I'm putting you in the spot. You got to pay attention to what goes in there. After I'm done.
So you just made a contributor to the flex pool, so we appreciate that.
Exactly.
Thank you for that.
That was before that. I was back in sacrifice. I had no clue. Like,
yeah, look, you got us contributed to the flex pool, so we appreciate you.
And it's sad, man. But what I can relate this stuff to, man, is when it comes down to this is literally the Matrix. This is literally the Matrix. We like Prelis tries. I've tried. I'm sure Mel Crypto, you tried. Curtis, I know you tried. We've tried to bring people out of the Matrix. We've tried. Some people, they take a step, and then when they start putting in the little cassette tapes and try to download the information into them, it rejects, and they want to run back into the Matrix.
Yep, and that's what Safe Food Warrior is pretty much saying here. He said, I tried to get a mate to get in on lunch, show him the calculator and flex. Said he wants to see it work before he will invest. By then, he's going to miss the boat. Anyone else had issues like that? Yeah, everybody wants to see it first, because those that are not initiated, the first thing they think about in crypto, it's a scam. And it's because the media has put out there, and it was in that previous video. Crypto is being used for illicit activity. So here's my response to Safe Food Warrior, and I come across this all the time. People want to see how much have you made? They want to see your wallet, right? All this, that, and the third, right? Fuck that. You see, success leaves clues. Y'all ever heard that before? Success leaves clues. And people that I used to work with, saw what I was doing, and they still out there working, the damn 9 to 5, working for the government and dealing with all the bullshit. So here's how you respond to your friend, Safe Food Warrior. You tell him the protocol has already been proven. The protocol was Safe Food.
That was the beta.
That protocol was proven that it works. Okay. Now with all the different added mechanisms that Vulcan has, guess what? It's going to work just that much better. So
and I think Dio said that. Prelvis.
Say again.
I think Dio says Diogenes. I think he said something similar to that effect, that essentially Safe Food was the test case.
It was
for what is now Vulcan.
That's true.
On steroids, by the way. On steroids. Remember that super long, super long percentage.
Different, but
I mean, we're talking now 44%. Like, if you could do this, if you could deal with this,
Yeah.
then you should be able to deal with this.
Right.
So trust me, it wasn't like we had to run Seifu over again with 44%. No, they know how the rebases work. They figured out the system. They knew what mechanisms they could add to it and stuff, and they figured it out. And that's what you're seeing.
Yep.
It's like, back to what you were saying, probably it's like people sitting on the sidelines trying to wait by it works. Yeah, it's gone. The ship is sailed. We're gone. The only people who can afford to sit on the sideline are people who already have millions, who are already millionaires. Yep. Those are the ones who's sitting on the sideline before they put in crazy amounts of money first, right? Those are the ones who could afford to do that. But if you're a retailer, you can't afford to do that. Okay.
So let me expound on that, Fowler. So y'all know the story of the River of Money?
Never heard of it.
I'm not familiar with that.
But I'm ready to hear it.
No.
And I'm gonna paraphrase. I'm gonna basically condense this, right? The River of Money. You got retail investors or retail folks, right? Common folk, right? They're all on the banks with their rods and reels or canes and a fishing line, right? They're all fishing, trying to get fish, right? Meanwhile, you got the institutional investors that are out there in boats or yachts or whatever with big ass nets and stuff, right? They're in the deep part of the water, right, where all the fish are plentiful, and they're fishing with nets. Well, what happens when that stream of fish, goes somewhere else, and the water starts to recede back from the damn banks? You got people that are walking out in the marsh. You got some that are going to follow, but they still fishing with this fishing line, right? They're still on the banks in the marsh. Meanwhile, those institutional investors, those big time fishermen, when that stream of money goes somewhere else, what do? They go to that stream. They follow that stream. Well, guess what crypto is? That's why a lot of manipulation is going on within crypto, is because that stream of money is moving away from fiat currency into cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand that. So I'm gonna sum it up.
They don't see it. They don't see it. They don't see it, Pelvis.
They don't see it. I'm gonna sum it up like this. Don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do.
Because
there you go.
They don't see it, man. They really don't. They don't see it. I mean, they're not watching Corn Bureau. They don't see why the banks are failing. The only thing they see is, banks are failing. It's not my bank yet. That's all they care about. Is my money safe in my bank account? That's all they care about. And as soon as
some people are just not looking. They just want to go throughout their day, work their 9-to-5 job. They're not looking into
it's bliss.
They're like,
they got their blinders on. Right.
Regardless if they're depreciating in value, I could see them there. I have $1,000. I can go and look in my bank account. I have $1,000. It's still there, but that $1,000 purchasing power may be worth, what was $500, a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I mean, it's for me. I've gotten off the whole save the world bandwagon. Now it's like, just like you guys said, we have to keep up, right? We have to keep up.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, this wasn't a thing, right? We didn't really have to keep up with the outside world to keep up with the crypto world. Mainly, we were always trying to keep up with just the crypto world, because it was always, well, what's the next scam? What's this? What's that? What developer was doing this? It's kind of like you had to kind of keep up with this world. Now you're starting to see this outside world affecting your world you're in, and you kind of got to keep up with it, because if you don't, either if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're getting hit. Like if you're in Sushi Swap, right? If you're in Sushi Swap right now, you weren't paying attention to your sushi, right? Fucking Gary Gensler just served Sushi Swap, and then Sushi Swap price took a dip for discount. So, and if you're a person who was looking to, maybe cash out a bonus, you probably pretty mad if you're not paying attention to your stuff. until you see the news. Because right now this isn't mainstream news. SEC serving a crypto project that's not on CNBC. That's not on some television. The people Prelvis is talking about, the people who like barely want to learn and all this stuff, but they want to invest. If they was to invest in Sushi Swap a week ago, today they would have no idea what's going on unless they go ask Prelvis.
Right.
Yep.
So it goes back to what I was saying before, this whole idea of passive income. And I know we use that terminology a lot. You know, when I'm talking to people about Vulcan and I use that term passive income, you know, I kind of put it in quotations. There's some actions on your part. You know, the passive income piece, when I talk passive income, when it comes to Vulcan, all I stick to is that 44% APR, because that is. But, you know, with the fixed flex and those other things, I mean, you have to be on top of your game.
Yes.
You have to be on top of it. You got to stay in tune on what's going on. If there's a pivot, for whatever reason that pivot occurs, you need to be aware of that so you can make your plan.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Cody J says, I think most people who want to get into crypto look at it as a gamble rather than an investment. I don't know, guys. I don't know about that. Yeah, there's some people that probably like who understand like stocks and stuff like that, and they can easily equate crypto to the same type of gamble, right? Because a company can tank and stocks tank. You know, it's the same type of gamble, right? But there's a different element when it comes to people and the way they look at crypto. It's a very negative, very almost toxic, because you talk to some people about crypto, they'll look at you as if you was damn near like you are the scammer. Like you are trying to tell them something that's trying to take money out of their pockets. So there's a different thing. If I came to anybody and said, hey man, you need to get in this stock, right? If you get in this stock, it's gonna rise. 9 out of 10, they're not gonna sit there and say it's a Ponzi scheme or a scam.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, either they're gonna say, nah, I ain't got the money, or they're gonna be like, all right, cool. Right? Yeah. No one says that about the stock market. And that's the most manipulative thing in the world.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I honestly believe, and I'm not gonna say it's people's fault. It's not people's fault. It's the media's fault. It's the government's fault. It's the bank's fault. Yeah, they've done this programming. And I told you guys why they did that programming. Because when this day comes, when the CBDCs come, and people realize that how much control the CBDCs are going to have, when they start to really, some of them start waking up, they're going to sit there and say, where can I go? And then it's because if the cash is bad, where else can I go? If the other countries are doing the same thing, where can I go? It was like, oh, can I go to crypto? Oh no, it's a Ponzi scheme. I
would say to those people, go look at your 401k.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. The program is too thick, man. The program is so thick.
It's complex. It's complex.
Yeah.
So you know, back to his comment, you know, what you were commenting, who was that? Cody J?
Yeah.
So they look at it as a gamble, but they'll go to Vegas or somewhere else and you know, put all their money on black or whatever and shit, right? They'll gamble that way, put all their shit in slot machines, you know. And I know you've seen it or possibly seen it or heard it, you know, where people go to Vegas and come back broke as a damn joke, you know, and then turn around next couple months and do that shit again, right? It's a repetitive thing. Yet,
yeah,
you know, I made a short a couple months back, and I said, you know, I asked the question, explain to me why is it that people are willing to go and get trained and educated to do a job at their job or to advance in their job, yet they're not willing to get trained and educated to become financially free, you know? And I was talking to my Facebook followers and even my Instagram followers, and I only got a couple responses back. you know, and that just tells me that people like Curtis just said a little while ago, they got these blinders on. They don't want to know what's going on in the outside world, and you can't fault them for that. All you can do is just keep doing what you're doing, you know.
Right. Right.
And Cody, you know, unfortunately, you're going to meet a lot more people like that, you know, that they feel that crypto is a gamble or it's a Ponzi scheme or it's a pyramid scheme or whatever the case they want to, you know. And crypto actually it's the farthest thing from a damn pyramid scheme or whatever, because, you know, it don't matter if you came in unless it's a MLM element involved in crypto. And that's the part that I hate. That's the only thing I hate about crypto. I dislike about crypto is the MLM. The MLMers have slithered their way into crypto. And if you look at it, right, you know,
they've been here forever, bro. They've been here forever, brother. They've been here. You ever heard of BitConnect?
BitConnect. I was in BitConnect. That was my first damn thing, bro.
The first thing for me, man. Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Got slammed hard.
That's the hardest slam in crypto history.
That was my first big ass loss, and I had to get educated within this space, and I got slammed so damn hard. I pulled money out of my TSP. My TSP is equivalent to like a 401k, a thrift savings plan or whatever, right? I pulled money out that shit, and my wife was like, "You gonna pull that much?" Yeah, hell yeah, I believe in this shit. And got slammed, got my ass slammed. I made a lot of money. I made a lot of money, but I got slammed, bro.
That's that paid learning right there.
But you know what? That's baptized by fire right there. That's the hardest. That's the hardest crypto baptization you're gonna get. Like, there's no one. If you weren't part of that, there is no rug pull. There is no nothing that even compares to the amount of what BitConnect did. BitConnect had people brainwashed.
Yes, it did. BitConnect, USI.
USI,
Lavore, all those lending platforms, bro. They hurt, bro. They hurt.
I'm telling you, that made me the crypto person I am today.
Yes.
That
and I'm sad to say, the state that I freaking live in led the way on that bullshit. You know, which is Texas. They started that damn cease and desist letter.
They made that. Yeah, they made that hurt, man.
Yeah,
it was literally that day. They came out the next. I don't even know if it was hours or the next day.
They pulled everybody's money, bro. They pulled everybody's money. That shit hurt, boy.
And then you see, and then you really realize how the system worked. You're like, so we gave them the Bitcoin. Basically, just gave it to them in one wallet.
Yes,
and that whole buy and sell thing they had going on was just a fucking joke.
So it was like a honeypot or something.
Well, they had a bot. They had a bot.
They had a bot to make the how much you gave and applied it to their system. But in actuality, it was never a real exchange. It was never really just sitting there. It was an illusion.
It was an illusion. It was, but what they did was, you know, they had that bot, and I know damn well that bot, you know, looking back on hindsight 2020, I know damn well that bot was making way more than what, you know, they were giving us. You know what I'm saying? We were still making between 1 to 3% a day, right? And
because it was based on like referrals and stuff like that.
Right. Well, so that was one part of it, right? Yeah. And then the compounding of it, you know, was mainly compounding every day. I loved it. I loved it for the short time I was in it, but boy, when my ass got slammed, I was like, oh shit.
I mean, there's stuff that you have in Vulcan right now was not available then. That this level of coding and making all the way these mechanisms and stuff works on the blockchain, this stuff wasn't even available. It wasn't even. It might have been a thought, but it was never available. Yeah. And what we had was appealing. But it was just, again, there was never a way to secure. There was never a way to build confidence. There was never a way to hold people accountable, because guess what? People were sitting behind black screens by a maximum. Nobody was doxxed. Docs wasn't even a thing. I think Docs became a word after BitConnect. Like,
Yeah.
Way after.
yeah.
But it's true though, and you know, when that whole thing happened with BitConnect, with DeVore, USI Tech, all those companies, and they went down quick, and all that. I'm gonna tell you what started all that, in case you may not know. So, and it, like I say, it happened. It started here in Texas. This was the nucleus of where this shit started at. It was these MLM, these top earners in MLM companies, right? They got pissed off because all their down legs were leaving in droves, going over to BitConnect, USI Tech, and DeVore, going to these crypto lending platforms, right? And so they went to their friend judge or whatever and had that judge write up a damn, cease and desist order. And next thing you know, the shit started. I think it next it hit one of the Carolinas and then went to one of the Dakotas, and then it just went throughout. I think by the time it hit the third or fourth state, BitConnect was like, fuck this, we out.
Wow.
Man, we was literally sitting there with nothing, like nothing.
Nothing.
They gave us our tokens. They gave us some tokens that was worthless.
Yes. That shit went to like 300 some per token, all the way down to like 15 cents. I'm like, what the fuck?
Bro, I don't even know.
Painful.
I don't know how much Bitcoins they had, but right after when they did that, then that's when the 20,000 went straight down. 4,000, baby.
Yes.
Bitcoin took a dive.
It could have took a shit.
I think there's a Netflix documentary, right? Or a movie on Netflix. I feel like I watched it. BitConnect, yeah.
Yeah. It's something out there about BitConnect.
Yeah, I've never heard of BitConnect.
Really?
But
The biggest rug pull of all time.
Yeah.
That's like the Mac Daddy of fucking rug pulls. BitConnect. You never heard that?
No, I'm kind of like, I don't know who it was, but
Dude,
someone commented that my first rodeo was Shiba Inu.
Oh, shit.
So I'm kind of young in the game as it relates to that.
Melfell Crypto, man. This BitConnect literally made like influencers a thing.
Yes.
Like
this was the
thing.
Canadian one. Was this the Canadian exchange?
No.
This was like overseas what they was doing. Like,
was it Vietnam?
No, Singapore.
Yeah.
Because Singapore is like it's another crypto haven. So
what was that brother name with the dreads? Hey, he was one of the biggest.
You talking about my boy what's his name?
Start with a D, don't it?
I got it. I know exactly. He's on my. I'm subscribed to. Hold on. Like I know exactly what he's talking about. I know exactly. I know exactly. And I always talk about. I was just talking to somebody about this dude actually.
Damn, what's his name?
He was on. He was on CoffeeZilla. CoffeeZilla had got him.
Really?
Yeah. He was like, hey. He started asking him about BitConnect and stuff. He had him on a couple times.
They took his ass to court because they took some of them influencers to court.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what the term. This is not financial advice came from.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
That's where it derived from.
Yep.
Wow.
That whole BitConnect shit.
So that's some history right there, y'all.
Oh yeah. Man, the fact that Provis is part of this, man, this is history, man. Like this stuff is like literally crypto history, bro.
Yeah.
Slumdog Millionaire put BitConnect.
No, that's how he was saying. That's in that video or whatever. They were
BitConnect. He would go on stage. My man, I forgot his name too. Carlos Matos or something.
Matos,
He became a real thing. He's a meme. Like they were making memes of my man's up here, just like flashing eyes and stuff, going crazy, man. Like, what's this dude's name, bro?
Man, I can't remember that dude's name, man.
Trayvon James. Trayvon James. It just snapped in my head. I didn't even have to find him.
Yeah.
Trayvon James. My man's My man's, when you talk about a guy like coming from like starting out, influencing, like not having a lot of followers, my man's he's doing literally everything you probably see us do. Like he's done the same thing like Prado does, like walking around with the camera and stuff, going in the stores, walking around the neighborhood, talking about crypto. He was doing that before anybody was doing it. And then, then he was sitting there having thousands of people asking questions about BitConnect. He'll be sitting there talking about BitConnect this, BitConnect that, BitConnect this. And it just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. He had another buddy he was talking about bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when it fell, the government looked at him.
Mm-hmm.
They went after him.
Wow.
And I don't think he never got held in trouble for anything. But
I don't know. I kind of lost track last year. It was news about them going to court last year. But I lost track on it. I don't know what.
But yeah, that's where the phrase coined from. This is not financial advice.
Yeah.
Because he never said that. He never said it, but he was fighting, saying, I never gave anybody financial advice. I never told any people to buy this. I just said this was a good investment. That's all.
So that's financial advice. This is a good investment.
Here's the thing. He never gave people financial advice, but what he did was because of all the footage that the content that he provided, both before he stopped working, then after he stopped working, and when he was showing his wallet or his back office in his BitConnect back office, and showing how much profits he would do. This cat was killing it every day because of compounding. He was killing it.
What type of numbers was he pulling?
Shit, in the millions.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought he was making hundreds of thousands. I didn't know he was making millions.
Yes. That's why
crazy.
I believe it was SEC that took was it SEC? I can't remember who took him to court, but they took his ass to court. It was him and some other influencers. It wasn't just him.
Damn.
Yeah.
My man was always in the car, man. Like he was always filming the car. You would have thought this man was making millions daily and shit.
Walking down the sidewalk and shit. He was making both money on the referral side because he was bringing in so many people.
YouTube
referral link and his I not even talk about YouTube, but just his referral link for BitConnect.
Down leg and shit.
His down leg, right? And then he was making money on the compounding side because he had all that shit stacked up in BitConnect that was compounding every day.
Damn.
That shit was crazy, bro.
Wow.
I'm telling you guys, crypto has come a long
way.
Definitely. Hey guys, I appreciate you guys joining me tonight, but I'm gonna have to wrap it up because I have to go to my job.
I feel you.
Yo.
So I'm trying
you
to
on the
get
graveyard
like you,
shift?
Pelvis. I'm trying to make my day job my side hustle.
That's the way you gotta think, man. Seriously. And good luck to you. Cheers to your success, man. Do what you need to do to get the hell away from that trading hours for dollars. It's a mindset change. I know if you're in this crypto space, you already understand that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, Vulcan is the way. Vulcan is the answer, simply because of his mechanisms and everything that Vulcan has to offer for the future. Vulcan is the answer.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, fella, thanks for having us
got the
on,
floor.
man.
I'm going to give the floor to Curtheus. Curtheus, you got any final words for tonight?
Yeah, it was a pleasure being on live tonight with you. Thanks for the invite again. And we definitely learned a lot of great gems coming from Coin Bureau and Fowler and Prelvis as well, and yourself. So yeah, thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Fowler, my man.
Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but thank you guys for inviting me on. I really do appreciate it.
No absolutely. Anytime. And you guys are welcome anytime.
No, so honestly, just banking off what Prelvis said, man. Like, this is a spot. Like, this is a spot. Like, Vulcan is the spot. It is a spot. I've been through rug pools. I've been through it all. I've seen it all. There's nothing too much. The only thing I haven't seen till now is a vesting schedule. that's the only thing that I've never been part of till now. And now I'm part of it. Right? So there's nothing I haven't seen. And I'm telling you right now, this is a spot. You want to be on something that ain't never been done before. And on top of that, it's going against what everybody is having a problem with.
Mhm.
So, guys, if you to be happy about something, to walk with your chest puffed out and your chin up high, this is what you should be feeling real proud of, is the Vulcan blockchain. You should feel damn happy that you're here. And if nobody else wants to join, don't feel bad. It's on them. Let them see you rise and shine.
Mhm.
All right. And then later on, then we could talk about how possibly y'all can get in and try to make money. But till then, us early adopters, we're in the right spot, and we're about to make it. And the team has made it where even if you didn't want to make it, they're gonna drag you kicking and screaming to make it at this point. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, I'm not going to do a rundown tonight, but I do want to just shout out to Biz. Appreciate everything that you do, sir. And the Triple Moon, I see you out there as well. So thanks to the both of you. And do like and subscribe to Fowler, Curtheus, and Prelvis's channel, as well as mine. I appreciate that. So I appreciate everyone's attendance tonight. We're going to do this again on next Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central, and we may be doing it from my wine bar. So Prelvis, I know you're in Texas. If you're ever in the Dallas area, look me up. Look me up, man.
Bro, I'm always up in Dallas. No shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Come look me up, man. We can go hang out.
You said
I need to learn how to ride a bike anyway, since it seems like the majority of the community are bike riders.
Yeah.
I think I need to join that club.
Hey, bro, ain't nothing like being on a Harley, bro.
Cool. Well, all right, everyone. Have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Peace
Talk to you
out.
next
Good
time.
night.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace out.